I'm not gonna lie though, that makes me kind of more excited though for it.
Yeah.
But as I was saying earlier, I'm actually kind of glad that you did choose this like movie because like there's a lady and a guy's opinion on it, and a lot of people that were offended were more dudes who didn't understand the peril of the lady's side. So I like
Oh
that.
no,
I like how we're
100%.
starting to get both.
So I had to unmute and mute again because it wasn't capturing right. But we got it. It's good.
Oh,
It's good. So welcome to Beyond the Jumpscare. We're reviewing Barbarian. As I said before, it decided not to pick anybody up. It is a controversial movie to an extent. At least that's what the reviews said. I didn't think it was controversial. Lynx, did you think it was controversial? Like, even in the slightest?
no, no. I really didn't think so. A lot of people like loved it, and for good reason because it's very, very good. But the thing that people were talking about the whole like some stuff I was gonna bring up later, when we kind of get to that part in the movie in general. But I really don't think it was what people were talking about in terms of like, wow, like why would they do such a thing? No, I don't think it was worth any of that.
Ah. Um. The only thing, not okay, not controversial. So we're gonna start from the very beginning. Just so that everyone is fully aware, we will be talking spoilers. But it's been out for 2
Yeah.
years, so if you haven't seen it,
Yeah,
why? Yeah,
you're in no rush.
you're in
If
no
you haven't seen
rush.
it after 2 years, you're not in a rush.
Um, Actually, real quick before we get into that, did you know that Bill Skarsgård like helped produce this movie?
The the
Keith?
dude who played the Keith, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I heard, that a little bit, but the thing that I thought was so funny is when the dude, Zach Kreger, the funny guy from, The Whitest Kids You Know, which shaped a lot of my humor, he wrote it, and I was, like, so excited, but he said that he had nobody in mind for any part when he wrote it, and then he just, like he was like, "Oh, there's no way that this guy is going to, like, do the part," but they sent it to him anyway, and he took it, so I thought that was cool.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. But, I think he did a lot of, like, great jobs on the casting because that's actually something that I wanted to talk about, was, a lot of the people that he chose, um, deliberately because, after the script though, because, like so we'll take Keith, for example. It's played by the Bill guy who also plays Pennywise, and he
Yes.
has such a horror roots sort of situation going on, so a lot of people, um, find him creepy, you know what I mean? So
Oh
they
yeah.
find him creepy, so right away they don't trust him, like the audience doesn't trust him, because of who the actor is. The same way, later, I won't say who it is yet because we haven't gotten there yet, but, there's another character who plays, an absolute evil dirtbag that is played by an actor who everyone loves because he always plays a good guy, so you want to right away believe that he's good
Mhm.
because you just like him as an actor, and from the movies you've seen of him, you
Mhm.
want to, like, root for, and I thought that was really smart on his part to do that.
Yeah.
Am I all jittery on the stream? I'm jittery on the stream, no!
You're jittery.
Yeah, I'm jittery.
It's okay.
Hi, Vixen! Oh, sorry, no, I have to not do that. I
Oh.
it's such a
Uh.
this is the first episode, so there's gonna be a lot of scuff,
Oh
but that
yeah.
is something that we were supposed to say in the beginning was, we're gonna try not to call out to the chat right away. I will try to, respond more in the comments and stuff. Not comments, but the chat, stuff.
Yeah. But no. So, uh, the thing I found interesting is how it took its like this movie took its time to build suspense. Like it took a
Yes,
lot
yes.
of time. In the beginning, it was
Also,
very awkward. Huh?
real quick, I think you need to turn the music up. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Turn the music
The
up.
background music. The background music. I cannot hear it. Blah blah blah. Exactly, Ludwig. Oh, I have so many bad habits I have to break.
There you go. All right.
Yeah. No, none for you.
None for you. Um,
None.
but I guess this movie built its suspense realistically instead of unrealistically.
Yeah.
Because as I was watching this in the beginning, it's very awkward, very awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Two people booking the same Airbnb, and you're just like, what? And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
damn, this sucks. This sucks because no matter what I do, it's still gonna come off creepy. And then he's
Yeah.
100% right. Like it, he's just like, well, do you
Mm-hmm.
want some wine? Oh, wait, that's probably creepy. And like, yeah, just a little bit. But no matter what he does or what he was gonna do is gonna be creepy.
Well, yeah, but I like that they did it in a believable sense. Because that was like, well, since we like we said before, we're gonna go into controversial crap or whatever. Um, um, that was something that the Zach dude actually kind of did on purpose. So he was written like a real guy, but there was a lot of what he called like invisible red flags that the
Mm-hmm.
average person wouldn't pick up on unless you were kind of like a lady. So like a lady would pick up on a lot more of the like scary stuff that was happening way before a dude would. Like so example, like the Keith guy, he wasn't an evil bad guy, but he was doing so many things that a lady would be like, "Oh no, I have to get out of here right away."
Yeah.
Like example, like um so a couple of things that he would like do is, when he opened the door, um a woman went and opened the door, at that time. And another thing is she's like, "Oh, don't touch my stuff," and he starts touching her stuff. Or he would be like, "Oh no, you no, like it's how I was raised. I have to sleep on the couch," all that stuff. So he's not actually giving her a choice. And a lot of times, like later when she's like freaking out, um, he kind of like not gaslights her in a way, but he was not actually listening to what it is that she was saying, why she was afraid. Like he didn't see that she was scared and then go from there. He was just like he didn't believe her or care. And also because he likes her, he didn't want her to leave. So he was still putting himself over her in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
But and then also um like an example, um he um like he made that tea, right? And she didn't want to drink it because a lot of ladies would not do it because we didn't, if you don't see it made, you're not going to drink it, right?
Yeah.
Um, and but the thing is he brings that up, and the thing is that's actually another red flag that you don't do because at that point you're being confrontational. You're like, why didn't you do this? Like, why didn't you drink that? I gave it to you. I'm not a creep. I'm not going to rape you. You should have just done it. That's kind of
Yeah.
like the vibe that it gives. He shouldn't have brought it up because that was confrontational in the first place. So
Mm-hmm.
like even though he wasn't evil, he wasn't actually as good as a guy that he thought he was being.
Mm-hmm.
And but the thing that was set up was there was really nothing that he was going to be able to do in the first place to make the
Mm-hmm.
situation better.
Yeah.
A lot of what you would actually be able to do would just be to not, like kind of like shut up, like in a
Yeah.
way, like don't be overly friendly. The second you're overly friendly, a lady's like, "Oh, he wants something from me, or he's going to try to do something to me." Like think of like a car salesman, like they're being overly nice because they want something from you. It's that sense that a lot of ladies are like, "Uh-oh." You know what I mean? So when a
Mm-hmm.
guy is way too nice, they're like, "Oh, he's actually probably a danger." So that was a lot of like little detail stuff in the beginning that she was doing that I really enjoyed. Like an example was the mini shampoo bottles. Like, she's looking around like, "Okay, does he actually live here? Is he actually renting? What's going on?" He has, like, many shampoo bottles. That's a good sign because that means he isn't actually staying there, or he's charging his toothbrush on the ground. Okay, you wouldn't do that if you actually lived there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, oh my gosh, my character's so wonky.
It's okay.
She's going nuts.
It's okay. But no, there was a lot of like little subtleties that
Mhm,
really drove it forward.
mhm.
But no, yeah, the 100% during the not the climax, because that's nowhere near the climax. I'd say like at the rising point of the movie, where like we get introduced to the basement. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's just me, okay? Whenever like I head to a new place, I have to see everything. The
Mhm.
fact that they looked at the basement, looked down, didn't go downstairs, kind of upset me because it's a thing in a lot of horror movies that really build suspense in a way that it doesn't really need to be suspense.
Mhm.
Because you're renting out a place, you would there has to be photos. Like Airbnb has photos of the place.
Yeah.
Like they have to have you take pictures of everything. And the fact
Yeah.
that she looked at
Well,
the
see,
basement like it was a new oddity, I'm like, how did you not know the basement was there? You see, that's where like the laundry facility is.
well, I think the point of that is she knew there was a basement because, she went straight there for the toilet paper and stuff. I think, what it was is, well, another thing that the dude, the Zach guy, the director, he actually talks about. He said that, when two people go into a situation, it's going to be a drastically different, like, experience. So,
Mm-hmm.
like how you said, like, you'd go and then you would check everything out and you would do all that stuff. I wouldn't. Mm-mm. No, not by myself. That's
Ah, that's
that's a
fair.
that's danger. That's how you get murdered. So,
That's how you get
it's
murdered.
true. It's
Yeah.
it's how you get murdered. Yeah, you leave stuff like that alone. Like, and I think that was actually a point that the dude even said was a point of the movie was like, um, you'll go out and you'll do something because you're not thinking about it because that's just how you do it. A lady can't do that. And that's
Mm-hmm.
another reason why so many people thought the movie was more controversial than it actually was because it did touch on subjects like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of the dudes didn't understand why there was so much tension in areas that the
Um.
ladies, when they would see it on the first view, would be like, "Oh no, she needs to get out of there. Like I would never do this," and she doesn't do it in a lot of situation
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of people didn't understand.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. So I really liked that like kind of attention to detail, and I
Mm-hmm.
actually really liked that it was a dude that writ that in the first place. You know what I mean? Because I do kind of feel like if this movie, like this may sound weird, but I feel like if this movie was written by a lady, it would seem more of a hit piece in the beginning towards dudes rather than it just being about the situation, about how it's a crappy, uncomfortable situation with a lot of tension. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
So I actually really liked that.
That's fair. That's fair. Um.
Yeah. So
Let me see.
go on.
There was another bit. Um. The willingness to go inside the new room inside the basement was already a red
Mhm.
flag for me. I would have been up and gone. But
Oh
uh,
yeah.
when Skarsgård or when Keith came back and said, "I haven't seen it. I don't know what you're talking about."
Mhm.
I could see the point, but I don't know. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, yeah, yeah. See, but that was another thing that people kind of got upset about. It was like, it was the fact that, like, yeah, he didn't see it, but he downplayed that. Like, she came up screaming, she was terrified, and he didn't care. He didn't immediately be like, "Oh no, yeah, we need to run." He was, "I didn't see it. It doesn't affect me." And then he went down there, even though it literally caused his death because he didn't take her seriously, you know?
No, yeah.
So, like, I mean, like I said, the Keith guy, he wasn't a bad guy. He just he just didn't understand why it was a problem, and that's why he died. Because you tell like people like, hey, there's a bloody bed and a camera and a bucket in a room, and your first instinct is not. As a lady, you're like, oh yeah, no, that is a death dungeon. But you tell that to a dude, he's like, "Oh, that's an extra square footage." In fact, they make that joke later in the
Yeah.
movie. Yeah, so
But I can see why he went to investigate,
mhm,
but I can also see the need to get out. Where he's like, okay,
mhm.
no. First off, if there's if somebody walked up to me and says, "Hey, your house has a secret passageway," I'm not gonna be like, "No, there's not." I'm be like, "Where the fuck? Where? Show me where."
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, no, I'm not gonna
See,
show you where. I mean, I'm in this house too. Show me where this thing
I
is.
mean yeah, to a degree, but, like, yeah, like, definitely a lady, she's not gonna go down there, and if she does, she's gonna take, like, way more precautions. Typically, she's not gonna be alone or, like, a bunch of stuff like that. The only reason she went down there was because, it didn't look like there was more room, and it looked like she could see everything, and then the second she
Mm,
said, "Uh-oh, no, that's scary," she tried to get out of there. You know
no.
what I mean?
Yeah.
When he saw it, he went further in. You know what
No.
I mean? Like, that's
Fair.
a death room. That's
Eh,
a death room, and you're going further into the death hole?
yeah.
What?
Um. No. Yeah. That's another gripe I have about some horror movies, and a lot of them need it to drive the suspense, but like,
Mhm.
and again, I'm not pointing fingers. It's just, if you see a big spooky monster or a big spooky room, do not investigate it. You saw it with your own eyes. Turn the other way. Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, you say no, uh-uh. My bacon is not for sale. It shall be eaten by no one. No, thank you.
another thing that it's little bits, like little details that drive me wild, and like little details that could have affected the movie, such as
Mhm.
this. Tess did not fly to Brooklyn. She drove
To Detroit, yeah.
to Detroit. Okay,
Mhm.
why was she not carrying? It's Detroit.
See, I mean, yes, but here's another thing. A couple things is, um, one, a lot of people have like different stances on like guns and all that stuff because it's
Well,
also not just about you having it. Like, she's going there for a job interview,
mm-hmm.
so she's not gonna rock up with a piece, and then also,
But like a
she's
blade
also
or
gonna think.
something. My goodness.
I mean, yeah, she should have definitely had pepper spray. I have no idea why she didn't.
There
That
you
was
go. A
kind of like one of
taser,
those
pepper
things.
spray, a blade,
Yeah,
a gun,
yeah, that
something.
you can get them very cheap off Amazon. Get a 2-pack. Practice with one. Have another on your pocket. Really, just
A
like
throwing
there's
knife.
so much. Yeah, yeah, so much jam. Yeah. So that was something that was a little. But another thing that I was gonna say is, you and probably myself, may not be 100% the best ways to describe some of these things, solely because we like horror. There's a lot
We
of
do.
stuff that we wouldn't do because we like horror movies. That like, okay, well, this is the trope. This is how you get killed. We're not gonna do that, right?
Yeah.
When you're in a movie, and, it's a bit different. So, like, um, so if somebody who doesn't watch a lot of horror movies was in a situation like this, they probably wouldn't think about it in the same way. You know what I mean?
Probably.
So, so she's probably not honestly gonna have a piece. She's, a lot of people would be like, well, yeah, I would do that too. I wouldn't do that too. A lot of stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Um.
See, yeah.
Oh, another thing that I wanted to bring up before we dive into like the meat and potatoes of the movie is
Mhm,
when Tess entered the neighborhood.
mhm.
Like you saw the movie twice, so you could tell me if I'm lying or not. The neighborhood did not look that abandoned. In fact, it looked lively and like the houses actually looked built at night. But the moment that daylight hit, all the houses are like broken into and like graffitied and everything. I'm like,
Yeah. Well, I think what they did is they actually, it was still, all spooky like, but it was dark, it was raining, and they played a trick on the audience by having, like, the witch have you seen the movie The Witch the Witch or
the
whatever?
bitch.
You know how,
Yeah,
like, that the howling, screaming winds is very distracting?
yeah.
Well, I think that's kind of what, they did is it was still broken down, but it was raining, it was dark. You're so distracted on the music score that they chose that you're not looking out the window. So I think that
Um,
was very well done in that sense. Um, and
Interesting.
I kinda like how it's kind of foreshadow in a way when you think about, like, the wind sounds like women screaming
Mm-hmm.
because so I really I liked the little attention to detail, I really did. And I
Yeah.
really like how that the Keith, the Bill guy, he played him perfectly because, like I said before, is they chose somebody who has such a steep roots in horror. When you see him, you think, "Oh, this is Pennywise. This is a bad guy. He's gonna be the creep. He's gonna be the monster," right?
Yeah,
And then he's not. So I really liked that.
I
I
did.
I did really like that.
I thought it
He
was
wasn't a
great.
great guy, but he wasn't a
No.
bad guy. I
No.
liked that they made him realistic.
Yep.
He was messing up, um, but he wasn't doing it, like, intentionally, he was just kinda being stupid. Like, he shoulda just shut up a lot, but,
Oh yeah. Um.
Mhm,
Okay. So now the plot twist. In the trailer, it just
mhm.
showed Keith and Tess as the main characters of the movie, and that was it.
Yeah, yeah.
So by the trailer, I figured it was his Airbnb and shit goes down. No. No, this is where the spoilers come in. No, he was actually like staying there. Like two people actually booked the same Airbnb, but there were shenanigans going on, and Keith dies.
Yeah.
I like,
Which was actually another, thing that I wanted to point out is because it goes to, like, he was not taking her seriously, and he wasn't listening to her, what she actually wanted and stuff. So when
mhm.
she was like, "Hey, I just came here. It's clear we gotta go back." He said, "No, I don't want to," and he died because of it. Which, by the way, great monster reveal. All of the kills in this movie were really, really, like, cool, honestly. They were really cool.
They were really cool. Um, the creature. Okay, I don't know if you've ever seen. Let me see. The people under the stairs.
Mm-mm.
Okay, that'll be another one, but it has the same premise in
Mhm.
a way. Uh, but yeah, the creature itself is not the monster of the movie, if you can believe that.
Well,
Oh,
yeah, well, that's what I liked is, like, yeah, she the mother, I think, people have been referring to her as. Like, yeah, she
yeah.
is. She's the one who does a majority of the kills, but like, it's weird. It is very weird how they did it. Yeah, she's the monster, but she's, like, not the main
The
villain of the
main
story.
villain. Let's just
Mhm.
call it for what it is. This the story is about incest and inbreeding.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
um
and serial rapists,
and
murderers.
serial rapists. Like, okay, first off, getting Justin Long to be the one to really drive the story. First off, I love Justin Long. I've seen
Mhm.
Drag Me to Hell,
Yes.
the first Street Jeepers Creepers,
Tusk.
um, Tusk. We don't talk about Tusk ever.
We always talk about Tusk.
No, I'd like to forget that movie ever existed.
Now you're gonna remember that ending scene for the rest of your life.
No, that movie was so ass.
There's there is a charm in bad movies.
Oh
Let's
no,
let's be real. There's a
100.
charm in bad movies.
100%. And I have a few. I have a few bad movies that I'm gonna show you throughout this podcast, because this director and I have been talking for quite a bit, and I want to get him on the show so he can like speak to us. It's gonna be great. Anyway, so Justin Long drives this movie. He is a actor that is accused of doing the ditties.
Yeah, pulling a ditty.
Yeah, he pulled the ditty, hardcore ditty, and then admits to it
Ditty
several
coffee.
times during the movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, they're pulling this angle. Okay, I could get down with this. And then he was just like, oh no, yeah, I did it. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I love that though. I think that was another actual perfect thing because Justin Long, a lot of the stuff that he's in, he's a good guy. He's a likable guy. And
Yeah.
honestly, there have been a lot of fake cancellations out there. So you see a likable guy, allegations come out, like you want to believe that he's innocent, just partly because of the character who's like the actor who's playing him, and all that stuff. And then you don't know right away. And then when he's talking to his friend in the party, he's like, "Oh no, yeah, I did it," basically. And then you're just like, "Oh, he's unforgivable. He's a bad guy. Oh my gosh."
He's a.
It's kind of crazy. But there was like a bunch of warning signs beforehand. Like if anyone else played him besides Justin, you would immediately believe that he was the monster because like when he gets told, he's not like actually concerned about the allegation. He's like, "So are we dropped? I'm fired? What?" Like he only cared about himself. And then like yeah, he didn't actually care about the situation, just
Well-
more about how he was affected.
Well, I believe the like him getting fired came up first, and then the allegations, and then he like nearly like crashed into a car going the other way. He's like, "Ah!" But no, 100%. He's just like, this is gonna ruin the world tour.
Yeah, he was so concerned. Well, because at first, like when they came out, he was just like, "Wait, what allegation?" And then he was just like, "Oh, but the pilot, blah blah blah." And then when he heard, he was just like, "Well, she's lying."
Well,
but
she's lying.
he waited to say that she was lying. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it was kind of like it was very well done. He is such a good actor. If anyone else did it, you would immediately believe they were the
Oh,
bad
yeah.
guy. But the thing is, because of how the Keith situation played out, it doubled down for you not to know if you should believe it or not. Because the dude, he was so like, without trying to be creepy. So because of that, you're like, oh well, he wasn't a bad guy. Maybe this guy also isn't a bad guy. But they were like, no, he's horrible.
Oh yeah. Now the only gripe I had about this movie, the only one, okay, I think, because there's a scene, if you don't pay attention to the dialogue, you're not going to understand certain situations and certain scenes. The scene where Tess is talking to the homeless man, and he said
Yeah.
that she's not the worst thing that's in there. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, dude. So Justin Long, he's running down this hallway away from Mother, and he finds like this little bell that leads him to a door. Mother stops chasing him and turns the other way. I'm like, oh no. Come to find out, is this old man, like old man that has done nasty things with wives, daughters, and other things. And Justin
And
Long
all those
confronts him.
tapes.
Oh yeah, the fucking tapes. Oh my god.
And the flashback, yeah. Well, see, here's the thing: is yeah, he wasn't a threat anymore. I think that's kind of the thing. Like he was clearly so bad that an actual monster feared him, and like all those tapes. I mean, did you read some of the names of those tapes? Someone's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"Won't stop crying," "The Screamer," like all those stuff.
The Screamer, yeah.
So like, the setup set it up. And like, I mean, he went into that woman's house. He unlocked the window, and you're like, "Oh, okay, she's a goner." Like,
Oh, yeah.
you know what I mean? So like, he was by far the worst villain of the movie. And I actually had something to say a little bit later about his his demise. But yeah, he was definitely worse than the monster.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't feel like it because when we're introduced to him in present day, he's so old he can't do much.
Yeah.
Um,
Um.
but he was, yeah, evil, 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 evil,
Oh yeah,
evil.
evil. But when Justin Long turns him around and says, "You really are a monster," I'm like, "That's hypocritical." But okay, go off, King.
Yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. I was like, I mean, it's like if a bad guy thinks you're a monster, you're a bad guy.
It's like, you're a monster. I'm like, I looked over to my partner. I'm like, yeah. Okay, that's calling the kettle black, but okay.
Yeah. Well,
Except
that
you just
okay,
didn't
see,
record
that's
yours.
another thing. Like towards kind of the end, I don't wanna jump too far forward, but it does make you think that he's going to, like, change. Like, and then he's like, "Oh, no,
No,
no."
no.
But but, um but okay, so I wanted to ask you, a lot of people, were mad about this. This was the only 2 controversies that I saw about this movie was, 1, dudes didn't understand the female danger of it, and like people were like, "Oh, it got too rapey too fast." But the situation is if it's about ladies and their fear and stuff that they deal with a lot, that is a major fear that a
Mm-hmm.
lot of ladies sadly have to deal with.
Yeah.
So it was always foreshadowed the entire time. It didn't outright say it, and then it outright said it, and then you were like, they didn't like that very much because
No.
it made it feel
Yeah.
like, oh, they're evil to be for the sake of being evil. But that's another thing that it kind of showed was there's a middle ground. There's the people that aren't great, but they're not evil. There's bad people, and then there's evil people, and it showed all of them, and I feel like it did a good job of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the other controversial thing is um, the dude, the main evil guy, he just kills himself, right?
Yep.
Mhm. Yeah, so, that was just the thing is a lot of people were mad about that because he didn't get his comeuppance. He didn't there was all these really cool, like, kills, right? Like, people's, like, heads getting smashed or ripped their arms ripped off and beaten with them or,
Mm-hmm.
like, heads split open or, like, all these, like, crazy kills. And then some people are like, "Well, that kill was weak," or whatever. I think that was actually probably the most effective and most intense death
Mm-hmm.
of the movie because, uh there was no justice in it. He got away.
Mm-mm.
He
Yeah.
he actually won. He won by doing that because he got no there was no retribution, there was no, like, justice wins in that situation. He got away with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that made it the most brutal kill because most brutal and most effective is because he won. He
Yeah.
won by doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
the gripe that I had was I feel like they killed him off too soon.
Oh,
Because
yeah, yeah.
you spent screen time to build up this man, which
Mhm.
it hinted at him like opening the window and whatever, but then just to kill him like not even a few scenes later, I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, at
Well, yeah.
least
Well, I
give
mean,
him a little something.
yeah.
But
Well, I mean, I feel like they kinda built that up with the flashback, like, yeah, like, he opened the thing up, he had a bunch of costumes in his thing, he was, like, um, collecting, like, supplies that seem inconspicuous and harmless at the grocery store, but they're not when you go home and he opens his door and there's a screaming lady in it. Like, there's so much, like, buildup of without showing it, and I actually liked that. I feel like if they showed anything like that, it would actually hurt the movie. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so
that's
I
fair.
I I think that was done really well, yeah. Because at that point, your imagination is 10 times scarier than actually seeing the action. Because people are morbid. You tell them something bad happened, and they're like, "Oh, what bad thing happened?" And your mind's racing and all this stuff, so I think that worked well in its favor.
No, yeah, it was. Overall, this movie was a okay. I can see like the traditional like Nightmare on Elm Street enjoyer, Halloween enjoyer. They're not gonna like this movie because this movie was more like leaving stuff for the imagination. Like,
Mhm.
A traditional horror movie watcher wouldn't get why the monster is the monster.
Mhm.
It's a lot
Yeah.
of like, if you didn't look into this scene or look into that scene or just feel the vibe of that man just to give you the overall theme of the
Mhm.
movie, you're not going to understand any of it. And I noticed with a lot of the reviews, a lot of people are like, this movie made no sense. It's like, I mean, it made sense from the very beginning. It's a very rapey movie, and it's supposed to give you that sense, and then
It
it's just
is.
like, bam, this dude, so much rape, so much incest, created an abomination. There you go. Also,
Yeah.
on the same topic, the breastfeeding scene almost made me vomit.
It was so good.
Like,
Did you know they had to replace they had to add that in afterwards because, before what they were planning on doing was, she was gonna baby bird him. Like, they even filmed it and everything was, instead of them just putting the thing down and him, like, them nursing or whatever, they had it to where he, like, opens his mouth and then spits, like he was supposed to grab a rat, bite its head off, chew it, and then spit it into his mouth. They already filmed the scene with, like, cheese or something and everything, like, just along with he said he was completely down for it and everything, but then apparently, it was actually too much, so they were like, "Yeah, let's not do that. Let's just switch it to the bottle."
yeah, I probably would have actually thrown up. Um, for those that just got here or missed the beginning, we're reviewing Barbarian. Barbarian came out 2 years ago, starring Bill Skarsgård and, if I can remember her name, I studied her
Georgina?
name and I forgot it.
I think it was like Georgina, it was something like that, but it was made by Zach Kreger, the same guy who was one of the main producers and writers, for The Whitest Kids You Know, and I love that. I feel like that's why so many, like, comedic beats in the movie worked perfectly.
Oh, and yeah, I will stand like on this hill. I don't care. I will die on this hill. Comedians
Mhm,
can either make the best drama you've ever seen or the best horror movie
mhm,
that you've ever seen,
mhm,
because they
agreed.
know so much about like the human psyche. Like, if you want to be like a successful comedian, you have to know how the brain works.
Mhm.
What's gonna get people's attention, and how do you capitalize on it? If you do the same thing but apply it to darker themes, they'll get you. Jordan Peele is a good example of that.
I I like his movies to an extent. I
Oh
don't
yeah.
think they're as good as what people scream about. Um, I like I said, I think it was one of those situations where the first movie was so good that everyone was gonna look at the rest of the movie with rose-covered glasses. Um,
Fair.
but he was he's very good. He's very good. I just I don't like how even though Barbarian, yeah, it does cover like heavy topics or whatever, it's not like pushing anything. It's just
Mm-mm.
saying this is why it's scary. You know what I mean? It's not like forcing a message. And that's the one issue that I do have with Peel is that all of his movies are very politically
Message. Yeah.
charged and
One.
yeah, messagey. And I feel like they always have been to a
Mm-hmm.
degree. Um, all everything like comedy, horror, they all are, steeped in it to an extent, especially because if they're gonna be relevant, like, the reason Barbarian was relevant was because it was a real fear, and stuff like that, so
Mm-hmm.
it needs to do it. It has to, it's just a part of it, but the moment it's, like, shoved in your face, like, you have to believe in what I believe, it loses its impact. And like I said, that's just what I feel is the only major issue that I have with Peele's movies.
Yeah.
Because we should never talk about Candyman. Or yeah, we
Oh
should
my
never talk
god.
about
Okay.
Candyman. It
Can
should not exist.
I I dislike Candyman. I okay.
It was a
I
terrible,
I
terrible movie.
enjoy like politically driven horror movies. Saw,
Mhm.
I'll watch Saw backwards and forwards. Uh,
Mhm.
but Candyman, I didn't get it. I guess just wasn't targeted towards me. I just
Mhm.
didn't. I just didn't get it. I'm like, okay, he only goes after bad people. All right, so did
Yeah.
Pinhead. I I mean, I don't get. I would much prefer Hellraiser than I would Candyman.
Mhm. The reason why I just didn't like it is it lost the point of the original one.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of the themes, and it was kind of like confusing because he would be more affected by the themes of the first one before the remake of the second one. So
You
you know,
also didn't
I
understand
really
Turning
didn't.
Red. Yeah, my bad.
I don't think I've seen that one. Is it good? Is it a score? Is it a scory movie? I'll watch it.
Turning Red is a Disney movie. It's not aimed
Oh,
towards guys.
oh. Well,
Yeah.
see, yeah, but I think I like that in a certain sense of what I said earlier is I like how we're, a girl, a guy, so we're gonna have different opinions, and I do kind of like that this movie was so different for two different, types of people.
Hmm.
So I really like that. So I feel like if there is a movie more towards like dudes, I'm very more interested in like your opinion on certain takes,
Hmm.
So I like that.
But no, yeah. Looking at the reviews to this movie, it is very subtle in the themes.
Hmm.
If you don't
Hmm.
get it, you're
Yeah,
not
that's
gonna
why I
get
like
it.
it. Yeah.
It
Yeah, because I
doesn't
know when
tell
I
you,
was watching it.
huh?
Go on, go. Yeah, no,
Oh,
you, please.
it doesn't tell you like straight to your face. This is what it's about. If you don't get the vibes, then
Mhm,
you're not gonna get the vibes.
mhm. Well, that was what a lot of people's issue with it in the beginning was. Like later, like you got it because it turned from a suspense movie to a creature feature to a thriller. So like it was hopping genres, and I liked that. There was so many comedic beats. How did you feel about the homeless man?
The homeless man, yeah, I knew something was up when he was like, "Hey, you!" I'm like,
Mhm,
okay, first off,
mhm.
we're in Detroit. Don't be screaming, "Hey, you!" and then sprinting full forward, like full, like at Mach 2. I'm like that. I mean, don't do that. Don't do. I'm like, you didn't have to do
Mhm.
none of that.
Yeah, but
um,
oh my gosh, yeah.
he was. It did make me cackle when they were at the lighthouse.
Mhm.
And he was like, that
The
bitch,
water tower?
yeah, that bitch hasn't come
Mhm.
in here for 10 years, breaks through the wall and like busts his face open. I'm like, ah.
Yeah, that was really funny. I think, I think that was actually kind of like a ironic because it was supposed to play on the false, sense of security that some dudes have in situations. Like,
Hmm.
she was like, "Oh, no, we're gonna get attacked at any moment." And he's like, "No, we're fine because I think we're fine." You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
that again, another instance where, like, the dude didn't listen to the lady and immediately was murdered for it. So, like,
100%.
yeah, it was yeah. I liked that. I thought that was good.
It was great. I, I don't know. I feel it could have been a tad creepier, just a little like it could have turned into a stalker flick. It had an opportunity to do like a Michael Myersy feel when he was like, yeah, at dawn, like when it gets dark outside, she doesn't stay in the basement, and you had that sense
Mhm.
of aw crap.
Yeah.
I really felt like she would have gone after the lady that was like employing her, and like you would
Mhm.
have seen her like in the backgrounds or some stuff. But I get it, the movie would have been longer, as if this movie wasn't long enough. I
But I
just,
think it would also kind of, defeat the, narrative that it already had. So,
yeah.
I think because, like, I think it just does come down, like, boil down to the point of view thing. Like I thought it was a perfect, almost perfect horror movie towards ladies. specifically
Mm-hmm.
who share a lot of those fears. And then I do love the off the wall crazy twists and turns that anybody, regardless, can enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it doing what it did was perfect in that sense. Because if it did switch to something else again, like a more stalkery or stuff like that, then it would no longer be something that's more targeted. It would just be another, it would just be another one of those other movies. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
and I think the Zach guy, he even said that one of the it was very very hard to get this movie published because it didn't follow the standard horror format, you
Yeah.
know, and because it didn't, it wasn't safe. But the reason that so many people loved this movie was because it wasn't safe. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I think that it being its own thing worked for it because if it did turn into another type of Jason type situation, it wouldn't have been remembered like it was.
That's fair.
Mhm.
Um, the yeah, I know you weren't supposed to laugh at it, but at the very end when Justin Long throws Tess off the water tower and old girl
Mhm.
dives after her, I cackled.
Yeah.
I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I get it.
Mhm. Mother's
I
instinct.
I get the mother's instinct. I get why Justin Long did it,
Mhm.
but that's just funny. The shot itself was
It was pretty
funny.
funny.
The
Yeah.
shot
I
was
I loved
funny.
his reasoning afterwards. He was like, "I didn't actually throw you, you fell."
You
Like
fell.
justifying his reasons why he did it. Um, yeah, I did. I think that was one of another, like, humor scene that worked really, really well. Um, oh my gosh, there was so many things that was just done really, really well. I think it was just, like, a situation where it was the right director with the right script, with the right, like, uh, filming crew, with the, like, right location, with the right actors.
Hmm.
I think it just got lucky. I think it got lucky
I think so.
in a like, everything lined up well. But, oh my gosh, so much. So much about that movie I loved.
Um, there's a few scenes that I would have personally just cut from the movie, like the police scene.
No,
The
that wasn't very important. That was very important.
uh
Yeah,
it,
it was. It was another instance of, like, these dudes in power not listening to a hysterical woman because they just didn't care to believe her. Like, when a lady is, like, freaking out and, like, going to someone for help who believes they're in a situation of power and they just ignore it. See, that's another scene that it was, like, it wasn't directed towards dudes. That's another reason why that scene was so effective towards women.
I guess.
Was yeah. It was like, "Oh, she's screwed because they're not gonna believe her because she's a crazy lady." You know what I mean?
Mm. Um.
So, again, but,
Uh,
what other scenes? What other scenes?
the scene where the cops go up to the house, they look at the house, and I'm like, nah. I'm like, okay, all right. It was one of those scenes that had me like wheezing because they took all that time to go to the house. They're like, no, I don't want to. I don't want to do it. But uh,
I think that wasn't a necessarily a girl or guy thing. I think that was their police officers in Detroit. They don't care.
like,
You know what I mean?
oh yeah,
Like,
one
they just
hundred
assumed
percent,
she was a crackhead.
100%. But like, they're even like girl or guy. If one house looks like tame in a house, like in a neighborhood full of like crackheads and whatever,
Well, that's why they didn't believe it.
there's got to be something there. There has to be something there. But like
Yeah, but
you
see, the
took all
thing
that
is that
time.
they thought they were being superior in doing so because, they got on the radio call and they were like, um, "Oh, there's this shooting that just happened," or, like, "There's an incident going here." They're like, "Oh," they're choosing to listen to her, and they don't believe her right away because they're like, "Oh, it's a crazy woman, it's a crackhead." we're in Detroit. They're in a bad neighborhood. They didn't care. And then they went there to humor her, but they never planned on doing anything from the very beginning. Yeah. And he even basically says so, when he's like, "We should have just taken you to sleep this off," because they assumed she was on something. Yeah, so, and especially if it's the only nice house in the neighborhood, they're probably used to it because when the interviewer lady, um, when she heard where she was staying, she was like, "You shouldn't be there," because they all know the history of that place, so they didn't, like, wanna do it.
It's yeah, I also found it weird that she didn't elaborate why. You knew she
Mhm.
knew. Like
Yeah, yeah,
just
she
from her
knew.
like facial expressions, like with the cocked eyebrow and like her head tilt down, like really,
Mhm.
you're staying there? I'm like, bitch, tell her right now, you know why. And she's like, okay,
Mhm.
you do you, I guess. I'm like, what is your issue? What is your problem?
Yeah, well, see, that was another thing that was a smidge bit annoying, but it wasn't for this movie specifically. This happens in a lot of horror
Oh
movies
yeah.
where, like, they just won't explain why, and they're like, "Lady, if you clearly think there's a problem with that area, why aren't you telling me there's a problem in that area?"
Oh,
You know what
100%.
I mean?
I'm like, it's Detroit. It's Detroit. We have phones. We can look up things. Another thing was she didn't look it up.
Yeah, no, she didn't.
She did not look it up. I'd be all over that. I'd be all over Google. It's like, oh, Lynx told me about this haunted house that I'm staying at. Let me look this up real quick.
Well, I mean, yeah, but it also depends on how short notice it is, because if it's super short notice, there's really not much you can do.
Yeah,
Especially, like, if you have a job interview and no options, you know what I mean? Like, you have to go to this job interview, you have, like, 1 day to book a thing, and there's a convention in town, so there's no other place open. It was, like, lucky that she got it, and then it turned out to be the most unlucky thing she got, you know? So, I liked that.
but yeah, there's let me see. I'm trying to remember. I remember the movie. There's bits and pieces that had me like, huh? Okay. This happens in a lot of horror movies, and I facepalm every single time, regardless of who does it. If you go down into a dark, spooky cave
Mhm.
or area, turn your damn ringer off, please.
Mhm. Oh, well, I mean, well, that's just the thing is normal people wouldn't. Like, that a realistic person's not gonna do it.
And it
Especially if you don't think there's a monster. I mean, because realistic in real life, there's not gonna be, the scary mama monster lurking through the halls. So you're not gonna do that. You know what I mean?
I
But
know.
one thing that I was very confused about was it didn't show him grab her phone's flashlight. So, like, he had the one and then she got it, when he got dragged away, and then when it showed him next, he had her phone. It never showed him finding and picking up her cell phone to use the camera flashlight.
Oh,
It
that
was
was
just he had it for plot.
that's probably just a goof, like a mess up,
Mhm. Yeah, well, I mean, it also could have been something that was just cut because they didn't have time. Because,
probably.
I mean, that would have added probably, like, what, 5 more minutes to the movie of him stumbling around finding a flashlight? They
Yeah.
couldn't add the baby bird scene, so I'm sure they probably couldn't, you
I
know.
kind of wish they had the baby bird scene, but
I'm
the
gonna see if I can find it.
do it. Uh, a character like I know it was part of his character and how nervous he was and how anxious and paranoid. But the fumbling around with the phone and the gun and I'm like,
List for comedy.
nobody, nobody does that. Nobody. And you can't convince me. If you do that, you're I can't be seen with you. The fumbling with the gun annoyed me. I'm like, of course you would, wouldn't you? You would. That's on the same level of in horror movies when they grab the shotgun that their granddaddy had. They like point it at the killer and there's no bullets. I'm like, why would you think it was loaded in the first place? You didn't check.
A lot of people, when you're panicking, you don't look. Also, a lot of people who don't mess with guns don't know the weight difference of a loaded and unloaded gun.
I guess you're
Like,
right, but still.
there is a very big weight difference, but if you don't know that, you're not going to know if you pick it up. Because a lot of the times, people who do know more like gun related stuff, they're gonna know right away. If not right away, depending on how much training you have, but there is going to be a sizable weight difference.
I guess. I don't care for the explanation. You know, directors of horror movies, you need to stop doing it. It's annoying.
I know. I agree with you. I agree with you. Because it's one of those things. But I think he even did say that in one interview that there are some scenes that had to happen for the sake of plot continuing.
I guess.
And it might have just been one of those things where it's stupid, but it has to happen for it to be able to move forward.
Justin Long shooting Tess in the chest.
In the stomach, yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, hello?
I mean, the thing is he had a camera. He knew what he was doing.
He knew.
He could see her before.
Like,
unless he like no, because you saw the whole circle. He wasn't like turning a corner. He saw her. He just shot her.
He just bah, and that was it. I'm so sorry. I'm like, I don't think you are.
No, I did like that one scene that he said is he a bad person or is he a good person who did a bad thing? I really liked that line.
Ooh, no, he's a bad person through and through.
Oh no, he's a bad person. I just liked the line delivery.
Oh,
because because that's what it kind of tricks you into thinking, oh, is he becoming a better person? Is he actually going to change? And then, nope, he chucks her off the tower.
No, he's just like, and be gone with you. How she... I could see how it happened. How did Mother hit the floor before she did? She was well down there. Like, she was well into the fall. I'm like, okay, all right. I see, because science and speed, velocity. Shut up. Okay, let me have my confusion.
I mean, yeah, I think that was just another one of those things where you're just gonna have to disbelieve, like not to use logic and science. I mean, it's also a creature feature. How much science, is there going to actually be in a monster movie?
But
like real science.
I also want to give this movie praise. It was such a breath of fresh air to see actual horror movie makeup and not CGI for the creature. I was so happy. I was so happy when it like close up on this is a weird scene to like fully see that it was practical effects, but when it close up on Justin Long suckling on the teeth that was Mother, you saw like bits of the makeup brush strokes, and I'm like, oh yes. I love it.
Yeah, I do. I have a very soft spot for practical effects, which that was another thing. So you know how everyone hated that Suicide Squad movie, the first one. Which it wasn't terrible, but I mean, it was a fun bad movie, I think. But the crocodile,
Oh yeah.
he was all practical effects. They didn't CGI him. I mean, they glued them suckers on. You flicked me off.
That movie was
You
ass.
just clicked me out.
That,
Workplace harassment.
that movie was ass. That movie was so ass.
It was fun. It was fun.
Not when you cut out like 3 hours of the movie.
No, it should have been like either a show series or like a two-parter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was so much. Okay, you know what? We're just gonna dive off topic for a second because that's how my brain works. Okay, so you watched that first Joker movie. You liked it,
The first
Joker one,
Joker movie?
where it's a where it reimagined him as like just a mentally ill guy,
I
and
didn't.
kind of like the
I didn't
origin at
mind
the
it.
beginning. Okay, so one thing that I liked was that it was like a retelling, a remake, a reimagining of it, grounded more in like it's just a guy struggling with mental illness and how um dark fantasies can become reality if you're left unchecked with, certain illnesses.
Hmm.
Well, it was good and it got a lot of praise and it was good, but I'm kind of mad about the trailers for the second one. I don't think it is marketed correctly. I
No.
think what they should have done was name the second one, name it Harley, keep all the scenes, remove the ones that shows him, and then make that the big reveal in the movie. So, like, it's tied to the same universe, you know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
They should have done it that way because if it's going in being the second New Age Joker movie, but it's gonna be only focused on Harley, it's people aren't gonna they're not gonna like that.
No.
But if you market it as a Harley movie, and then be like the big reveal is that it
Oh yeah.
shows the guy, and then you're like, "Oh, crap,"
Hmm.
it's connected, that would actually get a drastically bigger, like, response and, like, positivity. I think the way that they're handling the trailers for the second movie is very bad. I think it's
Oh
very
yeah.
bad marketing.
I I honestly, it follows the comic just enough because Harley originally was Joker's therapist inside Arkham Asylum,
Yeah,
and then he
yeah.
brainwashed her. But to make
Mhm.
her a inmate along with him isn't too far off from the original story. I can see why they did it because so many people have done the therapist fall in love with the patient type thing.
Yeah,
Why add?
yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. It was a weird choice for Gaga
The
too.
Yeah, well, see, also, that was another thing that they didn't right away in the first few trailers say that it was Harley, but it's like, it's a blonde woman attached to the hip to the Joker, it's Harley. You know
It's
what I
Harley.
mean? It's
Yeah.
like crazy blonde woman loving the Joker, that's Harley, you can't, like, if you know anything about it. But also one thing that I didn't like, was, it makes it kind of from the trailers makes it seem like she's, like, pushing him and, like, lifting him up in a lot of way instead of him, like, the whole point of Harley in the comic book series is, the guy straight up said that, um, she was supposed to be the actual physical representation of Stockholm syndrome in an
Yep.
abusive relationship. You
Mhm.
don't want to be Harley. You
Nope.
don't want to be her.
No.
And that's the one issue I have with it is that people are making it be like, "Oh, it's just crazy
Oh
love." No,
no.
it's an abusive relationship
I
and all that. So,
I hate it. I hate. Okay, so that's a huge gripe I have with like people that aren't comic book nerds, like going to see Joker and just being like, "Oh my god, they love each other." I'm like, "No. No, they don't." Then why is it a love
no,
story? Because yes, you're supposed to feel the love that Harley feels for Joker, but Joker don't give a
but he
hot
doesn't have it
damn
for
about
you.
her. Like, what do you
No.
mean?
No, in fact, it's so known that in the comics when, she, becomes pregnant and stuff like that, um, the Joker never learns that he has a daughter. He never learns it,
Nope.
because she's just like, "I know what he would do if he found out." So, yeah, that little girl's living with my mama in Idaho. Like like, it's not, something that's
Yeah.
okay.
I love when people take like Joker and Harley and romanticize them, because they say the Joker, the sequel to the Joker is romanticizing mental illness. No, that's how you saw it, and you put in your, voicing your opinion, and people are like, wait, it really is. No, it's not. It's
Well,
not.
see,
It's
that's a struggle that I actually this is going to be a topic of next week. Um,
ooh.
going to the voices. So it's a smidge bit of a small little sneak peek, little spoiler-ish in a way. Is when you try to visualize mental illness in a movie and all that stuff, it is drastically different than what it's actually like for the person who actually has it.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, so say like, oh, this thing is talking to me. Say I have this thing and I think this thing is talking to me. I don't see it actually talking to me, but a director to a movie would show it actually talking so the audience knows that it is,
Yeah.
right? So there's like this very fine line of what you can get away with um when trying to show like certain descriptions of mental illnesses,
Mm-hmm.
because if it's not going to be accurate at all to how it is in real life, because the people who don't have it and are watching the movie would not understand if it was accurate.
Yeah.
So they have to actually show you in a dramatized type way.
Mm-hmm.
Now there are a lot of movies and games that do it wrong. They'll be like, this person is crazy and we're just going to slap on this diagnosis into the paperwork you find in a note, and it's like that's not actually how that the mental illness works. You
No.
know what I mean? So that's actually one reason why I like the movie that's going to come up next week, because
Mm-hmm.
while it is dramatized and everything, it's actually kind of done a little bit tastefully, in my opinion.
I
Because
see.
yes, it's not accurate, but it's a very good visual representation of kind of the headspace, whether it's what someone would actually see or not. So I enjoy that a whole lot.
And a lot of movies, I guess, can get away with over dramatizing like mental illness, like Split. Well, that's a good example. Split is not a good representation of multiple personality, but they had to turn it up to like
Show it.
13 just so that you like can see like this is what people think it is, and it's good for a plot device. So we're
Yeah,
we're
yeah, yeah.
making the beast come out, and somehow he's stronger. No, I mean the brain is a powerful object to where if you believe you're strong. So I mean, women have pulled cars off of children. That's a good
Yeah.
representation of what it is, but like no.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that is very true. Is the mind's tricky, and that's why that some things are harder to deal with than others, because if you're capable of doing it and your brain stops you, but then you're say unwell and then you think, no, I can do this. Some things, if they're actually possible, especially when it comes to strength, it are more possible. Obviously, you can't be like, I can fly and you jump off a bridge and fly. No, but like if you think, oh, I'm stronger, I could do this, chances are you might actually be able to do more than you would if you didn't actually think you could.
Yeah.
Confidence plays a large part of it. That's why there are those examples. Like, and I forgot what this disease is called, but there's these people that are freakishly strong, and people are like, why? It was like, well, the body can do this. It can do this. The reason why they're so strong is because they don't feel the pain, and that's the problem. Because your brain stops you from lifting a car. Your brain stops you because if you lift it, it's going to break your bones. It's going to rip your muscles. It hurts. You stop. If you can't feel pain, you're going to do it. You're just going to destroy your arms and you're going to lose your arms.
Yeah.
You know, so stuff like that. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of cool. So if you do believe that you can be a beast and lift something heavier than you should be able to do normally, you're going to be able to because you think you can, and you can.
And you can.
So
But
I like that. And then okay, so what is your opinion going back to the barbarian? Um do you actually think this is a creature feature, or do you think it is more um suspense, like horror? Because there's so many different genres of horror and like and everything that it just I don't feel like fits in a creature feature.
I'm going. If I had to put this in a category, I'd put it under psychological horror, because the creature, in a way, like takes a backseat the entire movie. While yes, she's in your face and doing the kills, the movie's not about the creature. It's about
Yeah.
the fear that people have going into like Airbnbs and just people in general, like how dangerous people are and the unpredictability of people.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, see, yeah, I completely agree with that. There one of these weeks I was going to have us looking at Talk to Me, and that's another
Ooh.
issue kind of that I had with that movie was that a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's a great it's not a good supernatural movie. It's a
No.
great psychological movie about addiction because that's a real fear, but it's a very bad supernatural movie. You put it's a good movie. Let me get that out of the way. Like it is a good movie, but you cannot put it in the same category as something like say The Thing. You
Oh
know what I
yeah.
mean? Or
Yeah.
like you can't put it against like the Grudge or The Ring or anything like that because it's not the same type of movie. And
Mm-hmm.
if you put it into say we'll say supernatural and then you put it against like The Grudge, it's going to lose. It's
Yeah.
not a better movie than it is Supernatural, but if you ask, is it a better movie? I do think it is a better horror movie. I just I don't think it's a better supernatural horror movie.
No, yeah. Yeah. If we were judging this based on creature feature, I wouldn't recommend this movie at all. Because
Mhm.
I mean, nothing tells you about the creature. It's just there.
Yeah.
And then you have to piece it together yourself via imagination for you to figure out, is that his daughter? Is that his daughter's daughter? Is that his
Mhm.
daughter's daughter's daughter? I don't know. It's just a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a thing.
Yeah, there's a see, that's another thing. Eventually we're just gonna have to make like a list or something or of specific types of movies because another good example of a I mean, I'm talking probably in my top 5 favorite movies of
Ooh.
all time is this one called The Ritual, and it
Oh, the
is
ritual's pretty good.
technically classified as a creature feature because there is a very great creature in it, and when it does finally show it and everything, you're like, "This is crazy, this is great." But, I wouldn't consider it a creature feature, it's more of like a folklore because
Yeah.
it does kinda go off as like
Yeah.
Is it Scandinavian? It's something like that, but,
It has, it's not Scandinavian. It's, well, yeah, no, 100, it's Scandinavian, because that was Loki's son that was roaming the forest.
Mhm. Yeah, and all the runes.
Yeah. Well then, since this is episode 1, why don't we do our top 5 horror movies?
I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head. Oh my gosh. I know. Mm, I know the ritual is up there. Yes. See, this is not a. Do you know? Do you know what your 5 of all time favorites?
Of all time, number
Yeah.
5 would have to
Going
be
Mojo.
going Mojo. Child's Play 2 has to be number 5. Even though even though I'm terrified of dolls, I grew up on the Chucky series. Child's Play 2 was just up there. Child's Play 1 gave you enough Chucky to where you're introduced, but Child's Play 2 had all of it.
That's fair.
4. Let me see. Oh, I want to say Trick or Treat, because that one was just different. It was a child demon going around like
And
putting
Anthology?
razor blades in candy, and you're just like, what the hell?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a pretty good one.
Um,
I think we should. I think we should do it as um, maybe a homework task for next week. We show up and be able to be like, bam, this is it.
Halloween
Because I
H2O
did
is number
not tell
3.
you.
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
No.
Jason X in space. Tusk
You
is number one. Tusk.
shut your mouth. Jason X is glorious. It's glorious in a terrible
It's
way. The scene where they put him in a room and he thinks he's back at Camp Crystal Lake and he puts the two hookers in the sleeping bag and starts like slamming them against the tree.
That is a classic scene. Yeah, you
It's
can't
great. It's
lie.
great. It's great. Number two is Leprechaun.
You have a very odd list. I'm not gonna
No.
lie. What is number one in this? You got Child's Play. Oh my god.
Dragon Ball Evolution. That movie was quite terrifying.
Oh, you know what? That's fair. Fair's fair.
No, 13 Ghosts has got to be on there, though. 13 Ghosts has to be on there.
Make a tournament bracket system.
Oh my god, yes. Every month we do a tournament just to see what our favorite one was. The first... Does Barbarian move on or does Tusk move on? Find out next week.
Find out next week.
But no.
It just does that little JoJo little. Dun, 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 dun.
We should do that though.
To be
Like a
continued.
tournament every single month just to see like what the best movie was that we saw that month.
I mean, yeah, you could do that, or you could also do like each one it'd be like a different genre, and then you keep it doing it. It's like the creature feature, the supernatural, the stuff like thriller, all that gory. Because I feel like some like more gore movies I would classify like Terrifier as just a gore movie.
Oh yeah,
Um,
Terrifier is
you know,
100% a gore movie.
yeah. So like make each one that its own list, like brackets, and then you keep doing those with more and more movies, and then eventually, you once you get enough of a certain genre, then you put those ones in a bracket. All
There
the
you go.
winners.
There you go. So, out of 10, how would you rate Barbarian? And would you recommend it to somebody?
I would give it an 8, and I would recommend it. Yes,
That's not
an 8
bad.
out of 10, and I would, yeah. The only thing that is stopping me from giving it higher is this is the first podcast. If we could keep a list or and maybe change its ratings later, but as of right now, I feel like a strong. It's a very strong starter. I feel like it's a difficult one also to rate because it's a women horror movie. You know what I mean? So it's
Oh,
gonna be a
yeah.
lot harder for you to rate
Um,
it. Compared.
I'm gonna... There's several things that go into it. One, if you're a traditional horror movie fan, you're not gonna like it. I feel like it's very niche, if that makes sense.
Yeah, to agree. But I think that's why it works. Because if
Yeah.
it followed the same horror format, I don't think it'd be rememberable.
I think an 8 is fair. Honestly, I think an 8 is fair. Would I
All right,
recommend
we'll
it to
put it on our
somebody?
list.
I don't know if I would recommend it. I'd have to know like what you're into to recommend Barbarian. Like if you
I
tell
feel
me
like that's
I've
completely
seen like Nightmare on Elm Street, I'm not gonna recommend Barbarian.
I think it's a very good palate cleanser.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
I feel like if you're trying to get into more modern horror movies, I would recommend Barbarian. But if you're like into the retro stuff, I would not.
yeah. I feel like that's completely fair. Justified.
All right. We've been going.
Ooh,
Huh?
I was gonna say we did start early, but we were gonna typically keep it probably around an hour and a half, 2 hours.
That's fair.
We just wanted to kind of get things over with, see how it goes the first time, talking everything. This is a large part of it is kind of like testing the waters, making sure everything's set up correctly, kind of getting some introduction stuff out of the way. Is there anything you could think of that you'd want to like say or anything for like the first time or anything like that?
For the first time,
Yeah.
don't stick to like one type of horror movie, bro. I hate when people like, I only watch slashers, I only watch supernatural. Like, bro, there's
Mhm.
so many that are coming out that are just top tier, top tier. I will honestly put Art the Clown over Freddy Krueger.
I
Like
feel like it's fair. He's
it,
definitely drastically more scary.
100%. Like, just start watching movies again, man. I hate when you get people that aren't into these movies and then take them to go see and they're like, I hate it. And you read that review just like, this wasn't a good movie. Never mind, I'm not gonna see it. Don't trust
Mhm.
reviews.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Well, see that's something that I've always been big on with like any situation whatsoever is form an opinion. Regardless if people say it's a good or bad movie, watch it yourself. If you like it, you like it. What's the worst thing you do? You didn't like it, and then you move on. You find something else, and you like it even more. The
Yes.
worst thing that can happen is you find your new favorite thing, and
Yes.
I feel like I do think people should watch a bunch of different types of horror movies. I just think the only exception would be the gore type movie because that really is more niche. It's like how there's, different types of like metal out there, different types of rock out there. It falls under the category, but it is so drastically different, because
Oh
like
yeah.
um it that's like the one exception that I have if you don't want to choose a genre. You can skip that one. I wouldn't, even if you don't like it. Um I don't like horror like gore like stuff, but I would still check it out periodically. One to make sure that I do still dislike it, but also to because there could be something about it that I do really really like. Like an example is I don't like the Terrifier movies, but is they are not the most effective scary villain. Yeah, he's a great scary villain. Like you have to give credit where credit's due, and I think you know that's one of those situations. Um,
Yeah.
what would your favorite genre of horror be? You like the gore stuff.
Oh, my favorite genre. Um, I I love me a good monster movie. I love a good
Mhm.
monster movie.
Yeah.
And I will scream it to the heavens, or the hells. The Mummy with Brendan Fraser is a horror movie, and I don't want to hear any differently.
Be a horror movie. It's
And
definitely a horror movie.
the
The
Mummy,
Beatles?
the Scarabs, the Mummy with
Yeah.
Brendan Fraser is a horror movie. Anybody who says differently has not seen the Mummy.
That's fair. That's fair. That's a horror movie.
Emotep is one of the scariest movie villains I have ever seen. Especially
That
for the time it came out. You gotta also remember,
mhm.
if you saw that as a kid, that was your first introduction to like practical effects. Like,
Yeah,
that was
that's
a
true.
statue.
Mhm.
Like, my goodness. No, thank you, dude. When that thing roared for the first time, no,
Would Jurassic Park be considered a horror creature feature movie?
I feel like it'd be a monster flick, yeah.
Yeah, because like it's terrifying. Dinosaurs are scary.
It has to be the first one. No, which one? Okay, the first one and the beginning of the third one. The Lost. Yeah, when they're on the beach and the like tiny velociraptors like take apart that child. Spoilers. Yeah. That
Yeah.
child was like, "Oh my god, you're so cute," and then gets completely eviscerated by velociraptors.
Yeah. That was I felt like that was a little bit of shock value. I think they
You're
were
like,
going for shock there.
yeah, I was like, Jeff Goldblum, where were you? And my dad,
Yeah,
my
where were you?
it was my first introduction to sequels, and I'm like, where's Jeff Goldblum? And my dad was like, he's not in this movie. Then why is it Jurassic Park? Oh, well, you see, the whole thing about sequels is, I'm like, oh, I
Oh,
see, I see.
like, oh, okay. I hate it.
I hate it. Thank you.
There's so many good horror movies. It's crazy.
It
But
is.
but all good things do have to come to an end. But I feel like this was a success for a first time. It was scuffed, but what's not scuffed, baby? What's not scuffed?
Exactly. What's not scuffed? You didn't tell
Hmm.
us what your favorite genre of horror movie is.
My favorite? Oh God,
I don't think he has a
I think
place
I
in
like
horror, but okay.
psychological. I think I like psychological horror.
Ooh.
I'm a good old Okay, okay. Would you consider Donnie Darko to be a horror movie?
Okay, I've heard so much about Donnie Darko, but okay, with how
Have you
much
not seen it?
I have not seen it. I've heard so much about it that has turned me off from watching it.
It is very good. It is a movie that I highly recommend.
Are we,
Um,
are we gonna have to put it on the list?
we're gonna have to put it on the list. You're stuck. You're stuck. You're gonna end up watching it. Um,
Dang it.
Here's the thing. A lot of people don't want to watch certain movies because of overhype. They'll be like, "Oh," but here's the thing, and this is my defense for a lot of stuff is if something becomes a cult classic, it's for a reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if a lot of people love the movie, it's not overrated. It's probably just a good movie. So that is something to keep in mind. You don't have to dislike something because it's popular. It does fall under one of those form your own opinions. Now, granted, a
Hmm.
lot of people that do watch it are like, "It's the best movie ever." It's not the best movie ever, but it is good. It's very good. If you watch it, you'll enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, you'll understand references, and I think that's worth it.
That's fair. That's fair.
Mhm.
But yeah, this was a very successful movie. Uh, well, to those that are seeing us for the first time, I'm Beleth the Devil, and this is Kid Links, and we're gonna be discussing every week different horror movies. We're not gonna stick to like one genre. We're gonna expand.
Yeah.
We're gonna watch every single Candyman, every single Saw
Oh
movie.
God!
Every,
Don't you dare force me to rewatch that crap that is the remake of Candyman.
oh
I
yeah,
will boycott.
no
Oh,
boycott Candyman just so I
it is.
don't have to see it.
It's so bad. It's the worst. It's the worst remake of a movie I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen some stinkers. It's so bad.
We're gonna see every single Blood and Honey. Speaking of which, yeah, we're gonna watch the Winnie the Pooh slasher, and you can't stop it. We're gonna watch it.
Oh, I was wondering. I was wondering when the schlock was coming. I was wondering when you were gonna bust out the real B tier movies.
Oh my god, I love B tier movies.
You haven't seen
It's
Jennifer's Body.
no, I haven't seen Jennifer's Body.
No,
Mainly,
no, no.
okay, I have a reason. I do not like Megan Fox. I didn't like her in
That's fair.
Transformers. I did not like her. I don't like her acting.
That's
Uh,
fair.
but
I
when
feel like she plays the part perfectly though,
that's fair.
because she is a bitch.
She's a bitch. She's a bitch. She's a mother. But yeah, it's gonna be a good time. We have so many movies planned out. It's gonna be interesting. If y'all have recommendations for movies, let us know. We have a new Twitter at Beyond Jumpscare on Twitter. You can tweet at us saying you have to watch this, and then we'll either be like no or okay.
Oh, that was actually probably a good idea because you know how we were going to alternate. You do one, I do one. We could
Yes.
do you do one, I do one, and then community chat. Like there's a poll, maybe like we
Ooh,
make a Discord, and then they could suggest movies and go up to a poll, and the one that wins can go into the third one in the third rotation. So it's not just you me sort of
that's fair.
situation.
Yeah, we can do that.
That way, it also does some engagement.
I'm absolutely terrified on what we're gonna see.
Oh yeah, there's
It's
gonna be some fear.
it's gonna be some fear, hopefully, or some real. I swear, I'm gonna say this now. as I get close to the camera. I swear, if I open Twitter and I see you have to review a Serbian film, I'm going to block you. I will not watch the
I've never
Serbian
seen it.
film. The Serbian film was so realistic. The entire cast and production crew was sent to court because they thought the director committed actual murder.
Oh,
It's one of
I don't
those.
like that. Ugh.
Yeah, it's one of those that doesn't have a story. It's just, hey, look, this woman gets her entire tit cut off with a rusty butcher knife. I'm like, all
I
right,
don't
bud.
like that.
Okay,
I
bud.
don't like that at all.
I'm like, okay, all right. I think it's either that one or Cannibalistic Holocaust, where
Oh, that's
like,
old.
yeah,
Old.
where like this
I
woman
don't.
gets put on a spike and spit roasted. I'm like, okay,
Uh,
all right, bud, all right, calm down, calm down.
now you're trying to be gross. No, okay, so that actually I can't remember, was it The Wailing or The Sadness? One of them is a very very good movie, and the other one is a very crap movie. Um, one oh, it's about like a disease that makes you like angry and aroused at the same time. I don't know.
That does
It's
not.
it's not a good movie. It's a, a lot of people they love it. They're like it's one of the best gore movies of all time, and I'm like, it's not good. I didn't like it. I think a lot of it was gross for the sake of being gross,
Yeah,
and I didn't like it.
yeah,
Now, some stuff you can argue, oh, well, Saw does that. Saw does that. Well, yes, it does, and that's why not everyone likes all the Saw movies because some Saws are definitely better than others.
oh yeah,
This one was, let's take all the worst things that you. That's what it felt like. That's it was. It didn't feel like does this fit the scene? It felt like what can I write that would make people feel grossed out? That's what that movie felt like.
mm-hmm,
It didn't. Yeah, it didn't feel like it was done tastefully, and that was my problem. I'm completely okay with gore. Completely okay with like stuff like that. But the moment it stops being about the art of making a movie or it fitting a purpose, but for the sake of being gross, that's when it stops being fun to watch. Because
yeah,
then at that point, it feels like it's cruelty rather than artistic vision.
yeah.
And that's kind of a small issue I had with art a little bit. But this movie actually makes art seem a little bit tame.
Oh
So
no,
yeah, it's not very good.
no.
Like I will give you a little idea. Someone gets her eye poked out, and a dude puts his thingy in the eye hole.
What the fuck?
It is not a
Stop it!
good movie.
Stop
It's
it!
not a good movie. And people be like, it's the best gross horror movie of all time. And I'm like, it's a gross movie.
It's like
It's not a
gross.
that doesn't that's just the thing that I don't like is things don't need to be over the top to be good. I do think it is a must watch if you like gore movies, but not because of the sake of it being a good movie. I think
No.
I think it's a must watch movie because it should also be something for people who want to get into it, especially like people who want to do making. I think it's a very good thing to show don't do this.
Yeah. No. And I remember when I was taking cinematography classes, we were learning how to make a storyboard, and my teacher was like, all right, I need everyone to sign this permission form, because the movie we're gonna see ties into storyboard building. And we signed in everything. It was for a movie called Splice. If you've never seen
Oh,
Splice, don't,
yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's a good movie for half the movie, and then there's a rape scene, and then you're like, why?
Yeah.
Why was that in
Yeah.
there?
Well, see, that's one of those things that it's like it can be pulled off well. Obviously, I'm not going to like it. I'm not going to want to watch it, obviously. But there's a lot of ways that it can be done, like a serious subject matter like that be done, where it doesn't feel like it's out of nowhere and it doesn't feel like it's just there to shock you. I feel like if it ties in to the rest of the situation and it makes sense, then it's like, okay, like it's forgivable. Um, but yeah, a lot of a lot of movies don't do that well, I
No,
think. And that's
no,
one reason I actually liked Barbarian was
yeah,
because it didn't show that.
no.
The only time it showed something that was very, very borderline was actually the reverse scene where, she's about to, breastfeed him. It it mimicked a lot of what happened before it got, like, super serious,
Mm-hmm.
in real, like, situations, and that also was done on purpose, and I liked that because it didn't go too far,
No.
but
Uh,
it's you still got the idea and the gist of it.
yeah.
So I like it when something shows its cards, but not its hand.
Yeah. All right. So, Links, you want to tell us the
Yeah.
movie for next week?
The next, week will be called The Voices. It is an older film. It has, the Ryan of the Reynolds in it.
Oh
Um,
no.
it is a dark comedy. I count dark comedies as horrors depending on the subject matter, and
Yeah.
I feel like this one is a psychological, um yeah, it's a psychological horror dark comedy. I think it's also supposed to be a little bit more lighthearted because, this one was a little bit rapey, so the
Oh.
next one
Oh
the
yeah.
next
Okay.
one,
Yeah.
the
I
next
figured.
one is more lighthearted. I feel like a good balance.
Yeah. No, you're right.
You're gonna like it. If you don't like it, that's also fair, but I think you will.
The only horror movie I've seen Ryan Reynolds in was the original Amityville Horror.
Oh,
Even then,
yeah.
I'm just like, why is Deadpool going absolutely batshit on that woman? But okay,
Yeah.
Amityville. At least when I saw it, I haven't seen it in so long. I think when I was like
Mhm.
14, I saw it. It was just a retelling of The Shining.
Mhm.
But to hear like, oh no, this was a Warren case, and I'm like, oh, I see. I'd
Well,
have I'd have to see it again, but yeah.
it's very funny. And when if we do go over a movie like that, I'm very interested also in not just discussing the movie, but also stuff that go kind of into the movie.
Ooh,
Like
yeah.
especially as something like if we ever talked about like the Amityville horror or stuff like that, it would be fun to look into actual, cases and stuff. Because
Mhm.
if you look into it, that place is not haunted. It was just a heroin addict who did something bad and then blamed the devil. It's very similar to, do you know
Yeah.
the real life serial killer, I Am Sam? Well, for the
Oh yeah,
longest
the
time, he
son of Sam.
pretended like yeah, he pretended like he was being, told, by a demon, all this stuff. Well, it found out later he did admit that he was lying, and, Sam was just the name of his neighbor's dog. He was just trying to pretend to be crazy so he would get a lighter sentence.
To get asylum, yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
Which
that's
a
about
lot
right.
which I think that's hilarious, largely because if anybody who actually has seen those places, um, they're drastically worse than prison.
Okay.
People don't know that, because they think, "Oh, it's probably like jail, but less boring," or a bunch of stuff because they'll see, like, rehabilitation centers, and they'll think it's very similar.
Mhm.
No, it is night and day different than what you would go if you were checked in if you have, like, depression or something. It's drastically different. It's it's actually proven to be drastically worse, and it's so bad. So, like, people, if they go to jail and then they get out, they can kind of acclimate back into society. If it's proven that there's not been a single case of someone leaving a, institution, like one of those institutions that have came out, well. You're
Oh,
basically stuck there for the rest of your life. Even if you get discharged, you're stuck
ooh,
there.
yeah.
It's very bad. Um,
Oof.
yeah.
But no,
So
like, yeah, if we do like a based on real life, we should bring up the case and
mhm,
then
mhm,
compare notes.
mhm. Oh, what is your do you know what your favorite old-timey movie? I'm talking like old, old school.
Oh,
I really like The Exorcist.
oh, I love The Exorcist,
I
hands
also
down.
like, The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Hmm.
Um, what was it? Roseblood? Roseblood
I think, yeah.
was that
No,
the name of
Rosemary.
one?
Or is that Rosemary's
Rosemary.
Baby?
No, 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 that's the devil baby.
Oh,
No, there's this one is about a real mansion. that this lady had. This is obviously not based on real, just the location was real. Um, this woman, she was insane and she built a mansion and she constantly was changing contractors. There was
Winchester.
no, it was
Yeah, it was Winchester.
Rose. Well, no, that's another one. This is a different lady.
No, that's the
This one
Winchester
has Rose in
Mansion.
the name. Let me find out. Let me see.
She kept building the
Um,
houses just to escape the people that were, or escape the ghosts that were killed by the Winchester rifle.
no, this is a different. This is a different crazy woman.
Okay.
It- yeah, I know who you're talking about. Um,
But,
yeah, it's called Rose Red. Where is the
Rose Red.
Yeah, Rose Red. Um, they actually parodied this movie in, I think it was the second um s- scary movie. You know the
Oh.
parody scary movies? I
Mm-hmm.
think it was this the second one.
Oh.
What was
Interesting.
it? Yeah, the Diary of Ellen Rimmer.
Oh.
Okay, no. Okay, no, it's not actually a real place. I think they used the Winchester's thing as an inspiration for the story.
Ah,
Okay,
gotcha.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's fake, but the place that they filmed in, I think, was at that one.
Mm. But,
The cool though, still fun to learn. Look, we like learning here.
we like learning here.
We like learning.
Um, but my favorite old horror movie, you can't find it anymore, so good luck. It's called Shocker. It's a Wes Craven movie. It was when Wes Craven had created Nightmare on Elm Street and then sold the rights and then went batshit what they did to Freddy Krueger. So it was, no, believe it was before Nightmare. It's called Shocker, and it's about a man that gets sentenced to death via the electric chair. And his soul was so angry and so vengeful that it became a poltergeist and started possessing TVs and radios and would travel through electrical waves, like electricity. And have you ever seen Sons of Anarchy?
Nah.
Okay. I'm trying to remember. I'll send you a picture of him. You've probably seen him somewhere, but I can't think of his IMDb like stats right now. But it had the most 80s soundtrack you will ever hear, and it was 80s to a T. Like it had cheap pickup lines, like I believe like when this dude falls asleep in his chair and the TV plays the national anthem and then hits static, like he shows up from the TV and says, "And that's all, folks," and then he just like repeatedly stabs him. I'm like, yes.
Oh my gosh, that escalated so quickly.
It's great. It's so cheesy. It's so 80s. I love it. But yeah, good luck trying to find it.
There is a good charm to older movies like that. Oh gosh. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you another question. Does if a movie counts as horror, what would you consider? No, I don't think it would. The original Crow.
The
Because
Crow
I've
is
heard debate
very.
on whether it would be considered because it is a psychological drama revenge flick, but some people say because of the dark tones and themes that it's a horror. Because I mean, it does talk about a man and wife being murdered and then his spirit coming back. So would you classify that as a horror?
I would consider it a like a dark Avenger type movie, but I would consider it an intro to horror.
See, yeah, I feel like that's fair. I wouldn't say because I've seen some people say that they think it's a horror. I don't think that just because a movie is dark
Mm-mm.
makes it a horror. A good example would be Midsummer. It's a very, very, very bright, very like beautiful color, like vibrant movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably one of the darkest movies
Mm-hmm.
that you could. It's very dark. You know what? That
I
would probably
love it.
go and be on the top five. Is a Midsummer.
I'm so
Um.
glad you said that. When I saw Midsommar, again, it's just like Barbarian. If you do not capture the vibes, you're not gonna like the movie.
Mhm.
You'll see some like camera shaking and you think you're high on acid. No, that's meant to be in there, and it's great. It's glorious. I'm like, oh, I saw
Mhm.
it in theaters when it dropped. I didn't know it dropped till the day before, and then I went to the movies to go see it.
It's good. I do. I think one thing that I'm starting to notice the more I'm thinking about my list is I really love psychological, and I like movies that like are don't aren't afraid to do the only aren't afraid to do what they want to do, like regardless if it follows the correct format or not. Like I really like Barbarian. I like the Midsummer. I like the Ritual. The Ritual I feel like is very
Ooh,
not. It's not what you think it's going to be. So.
no,
Mhm.
no, and it's great. I love movies that unapologetically do what they want to do.
Yeah, exactly. And that's another thing that while I said I don't like the Terrifier movies, I do enjoy that about those movies is he wanted to make this regardless of whether you were going to well receive it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And he did and he stuck by it and I like that. I like it when a director, producer, whatever, creates a movie and he says, "I've made this for myself."
Pretty much.
And
Pretty
if you
much.
enjoy it, you enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, well, watch something else. And I like that attitude.
Yeah. Then you're gonna love Camp Blood. Oh, you're gonna love Camp Blood. Oh my god.
Oh.
Yeah, so Camp Blood will be definitely one of the movies we watch. It's like if someone took an old camcorder, grabbed a bunch of their friends after going to Spirit Halloween, and they made a movie. It's
Oh, like that llama attacks movie? Like the space llama movie?
yes, like also like a Velocipaster.
Oh god, I couldn't finish Velocipat. Oh god, no.
Yeah,
We have to watch it.
yep, we have to watch it, and then I'm gonna get the director in here, and then we're gonna talk
We're
about
gonna
him.
have to do we're going to have to do a speed around episode every once in a while. Watch
Oh
a
yeah.
bunch of movies, maybe more like B list like movies.
Mm-hmm.
But do like a bunch of their works and talk about them in like kind of like rapid succession.
Then
Word.
pick up some like Amazon movies, like Amazon Prime movies, the ones they just put out just for shits and giggles. Like Hell House, LLC. There's like
I thought
three
the
of them.
first one was good.
The first one, okay, I love the first one to death, and I will scream its praises because I love found footage movies. Quarantine is like one of my favorite movies.
Which
Wasp.
one?
Oh, the first one.
Remake?
Oh no, both of them. I love the
You
Spanish
like that?
version. I love the English version. I can't like they're so close together. I can't pick a favorite. I think I might pick the Spanish one because it had more oomph to it.
Mhm.
But the English one was just so good too. It was so good.
The
But the
main
sequels, no.
the the main difference between the American and the Spanish version is one, a lot of people didn't like that they tried to make it almost identical. I love that. You're trying to be as faithful as possible. I feel like
Hmm.
that's credit where credit's due. I
Yeah.
love that. The only major difference story-wise was in the Spanish one, especially if you pay attention into the sequels and the background stuff is it's very religious. Um
Yeah.
like and they completely remove that from the American one, and I actually think that works better for the American version one because if it
Hmm.
started to get into the religious territory, it wouldn't
Oh
work.
yeah, you could see
Um,
the religious side of it with the plague and everything. I'm like, oh, the rapture. I get it. I get it 100%. And the other one was just like, rabies. I'm like,
yeah, yeah,
either way, I loved it. Wasp
yeah.
tornado. Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna spoil this one for you because it was first off excuse my language, but a bitch and a half to find this movie. the wasp tornado. I'm gonna give you this movie from beginning to end in a short amount of time because it's only an hour long. 1 hour. So, the end of the world has come, and wasps are killing everything. Okay? Don't know why, don't know how, just happens. It has nothing to do with anything. You follow this one person that finds a group, and this group wants to do the naughties. Of course. They're like, a woman! Yes. And they go about doing their thing. Hold on. Let me find my train of thought. They're like, how do we stop this thing? Well, you can't. You can just run away from it for as long as you can. I'm like, okay, so you're trying to outlast the storm. Well, everybody that dies, all dies within the last 5 minutes of the movie, and they all did something to deserve it. Man tried to Diddy, the main character, gets killed. A child steals his dad's gun, gets killed. And then I'm like, okay, alright, this is weird. This lady who wore a cross for the entire movie is the only one that survives because the wasps look at the cross and they back away. And she is saved.
What the? Jesus bolt? What the? What about a Jesus bolt?
Bolt? Let me see.
That's what Bab said.
Okay. Wasp.
Oh my goodness. Oh my.
Oh! Okay. So at the very end of the movie, what kills all of the wasps in the wasp tornado is this thunder or this lightning bolt that strikes down that just so happened to be in the shape of a cross.
Well, I didn't think they were going to make bees religious, but that's hilarious. That's pretty good.
If you want to, I don't know why you would want to. Look up Wasp Tornado. You can pirate it. It's not good. Plot. Oh yeah, the Jesus plot comes at the very end. It says at the end of the movie that those that have sinned will not see the end of the rapture. I'm like, stop.
Well,
I'm like, it's like if your church decided to scare you straight into believing in Jesus, they would make this movie.
okay.
I'm like, no. I'm like, or you could stick to the original one and show them The Exorcist.
Yeah, you know what? That's fair.
I'm like, no. Speaking of The Exorcist, real quick, have you seen the first Exorcist? Like,
Yeah.
no, not the first one that came out in the 70s. I'm talking about it's just called The Exorcist, the remake, or the prequel, or whatever. No, it's the sequel, the official sequel to the original Exorcist. It came out 2 years ago.
Oh,
Exorcist
one.
Believer.
No, I haven't seen it. I heard it was. I watched the trailers and I was just like, I don't like the trailer. And then I heard a lot of people say when it came out, and I know I just recently said like, oh yeah, if you form your own opinion. Yeah, but when you don't like the trailer and everyone's just like, oh yeah, the trailer makes it seem better than it is, then that might be a good warning sign, you know.
Yeah, it's bad.
Did you like it?
No, I saw it coming from Canada. The plane I was on had it to watch, and I'm sitting there watching this. This movie, I think, is an hour and a half, and nothing happens until the last 15 minutes of the movie. First off, gripes, real quick. If you're gonna write a movie, do not put every fucking thing at the very end of the movie. That's how you get slapped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I do not want this hour-long build-up with 15 minutes of, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna get you. Stop it. Stop it. It's
Yeah.
becoming more and more, and it's irritating.
I think it only works if it's like a last stand scenario. I
Oh
think if it's a
man,
last stand scenario, then sometimes it works.
like the
But outside
Babadook.
of that, The Babadook was a great movie.
I
That movie scared me. Okay, has there ever been a horror movie that's actually like kind of messed you up a little bit? Because there was one movie that I don't know why I watched it, and there was nothing necessarily about it that should have like shook me so bad. But it was, um, I think it's called 43. It's a Rom Zombie movie, and there was something about it which by the way, the main dude in that movie is also the main guy that uh played the dad in Barbarian, the evil dad guy. He
no.
actually but by the way, like I know we talked about everybody like the everyone doing a great job. That guy who played the dad, phenomenal. I have never seen him in something where he wasn't evil, and he's the perfect evil guy. He was in the movie that scarred me, that 43 one. He was also in a Mandy
31.
at like 31. Okay,
31.
well,
Yeah.
watch it. We're putting that on the list.
No.
It's going on the list.
No.
Have you seen it?
Yes, I've seen. First off, I love Rob Zombie. I
Mhm.
again hit the first Halloween. Great. The fact they forced him to make a sequel, not great. Um,
Mhm.
the House of a Thousand Corpses, Three from Hell, Devil's Rejects, glorious. 40 or 31 and Lords of Salem can eat my ass. No thanks.
I like there was something about that one that I don't know, it actually kinda like not not it didn't scare me. There was something about the premise of the movie that I found, I liked a lot. Like, maybe it wasn't a great movie, but there was something about it that I just really resonated with. There was something about, like, the premise that was actually, like, very scary the more you think about it.
Oh,
But
that's
that
fair.
movie is like a thinker.
Yeah.
Um, Now Lords of Salem just sucked. There was no redeeming Lords of Salem. But and my issue with the sequels also to the House of Thousand Corpses was it tried too hard to make you like them. You're supposed to hate them.
No,
Like you're
yeah.
supposed to like yeah, and that was my problem with the other ones is like they want you to root for them and I didn't like that. You can't make me root for them and I didn't and I didn't. Um so
Um, yeah.
yeah, that was
There,
just my little piece on that.
there's a lot of movies. Wes Craven's also been bad for that.
Mm.
With The Hills
I
Have
love
Eyes.
horror. Yeah. I love when a um a villain is a villain. I don't need a sappy sad story on why you should care. No, not everyone wants to write Arden from Final Fantasy. Not everybody is Arden from Final Fantasy, okay? Like eh, there are a lot of villains that like yes, you can show why they are evil and that's completely okay. But the moment you try to make people like root for them, that's when it stops being okay because it's not
Yeah.
it feels cheap. It
Mm-hmm.
feels cheap. It's yeah, it doesn't feel good.
No.
It's not very good.
No.
I think it only works and the only reason I said an Arden is because he's like a villain you root for in a weird sense, but after a certain like point into the game when he shows like his evil deeds, you no longer root for him anymore.
Yep.
You just sympathize with him, but you want him to fail. And so that's why I feel like he works, but you don't get a villain like that very often.
Mm-mm.
And that was my one issue with the reimagining of the new Joker movie, was that they tried too hard to make you want to take his side. It was towards the end that they're like, "No, no, no, he's actually just bad, irredeemable." Um, but yeah, that is a very common gripe that I have with more recent movies, is that they want you to feel bad for them, but I want a villain that I want to hate. there's a lot of really good villains that are villains, and it feels good to hate them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to hate the villain. I want to enjoy the villain by hating them, if that makes sense.
Oh no, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because you can like a bad guy. You just don't want to sympathize with the bad guy, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah.
So, but everyone's like, "Oh, he's just misunderstood." No, he
No.
sucks. He
Yeah.
sucks and he's evil. Let me hate him.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's just like Persona 5 Royale for having the best villains. That's a whole different conversation. A whole different conversation. You didn't like to hate him. You hated him. Like you hated him.
But I
No.
love those types of villains, though. I like villains that they're just bad. Like they're just evil. They're just bad. Like it feels good to hate them. Like you know what I mean? Like ah, there's just some villains that you want to watch lose. And I think that makes them better written. A lot of people don't like those villains because they're like, "But he sucks and I hate him." Good. You're supposed to. He's the bad guy.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what is missing from a lot of like slashers now. Like a good, and I pin this all on Chucky. Chucky is like, oh, people are starting to like him again. Well, let's have him beat the shit out of Tiffany. Maybe then nobody will like him, and then nobody does. But like, once he fails at the very end, you're like, fucking yes, get got. But he comes back again, and you're like, damn it, why?
Yeah. Yeah. But that's like a lot of charm that old horror movies and monsters and villains have that new ones don't have anymore.
No. No.
He's a good one though. He's a good villain.
He's a good villain.
He's quippy.
You hate him, but there's times where you're like, that was funny. A good joke is a good joke, but I hate you.
I won't lie. I love Tiffany. I love the Martha Stewart energy that she gave.
But
I was
yes,
like, you need to be creative.
not to be creative.
Oh my gosh.
All right, final testaments, final words.
Well, this I do. I think this first episode was a success. I do think there was some scuff, but that's unavoidable. And it's, you know what? It's what we do. It's a growing process. Um, so you know what? I do want to say thank you for everybody who did tune in, and all that. Like Fabulous and Lucid, and I see other people in there. The Venom, Ludley, and us. You know, but yeah. So everybody that came, I really do appreciate it, and I can't wait to do more. I really can't. I just think that it's going to continue to improve. I just think it's going to continue to improve, and I'm very excited to have very different items and have very different opinions, and you know, because I think if everyone shared the exact same opinions and point of view, it would be a lot less fun.
That's fair. That's
But
fair.
are you ready?
I'm
Do you have parting
ready.
words?
I have a couple parting words. One, stop remakes. Stop it. We don't need any more. I swear. I don't want no more remakes. And
Yeah.
this one is because of a lot of movies that have been coming out. We don't need origin stories for every goddamn horror movie villain. Please. I don't care. Ridley Scott is bad for it. Oh my god, I don't need 16 movies on how the xenomorph was made. I just know it's a thing. Let him, it be a thing. Please.
Yeah, I completely agree. And also, I'm still mad about Prometheus, or the smart evil lady who's like, everyone's like, oh, she's so smart, and she's like, yeah, she is smart. She's very formidable, and she runs straight like she was gonna outrun that thing. And like the main lady's like, the last second, like, "Oh, wait, if I just turn slightly." The evil lady was smarter than you. Why is she running straight and you not? Whatever, whatever, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad. Okay, the reason why I bring up origin story is because soon we are getting Camp Crystal Lake, the TV series about Jason Voorhees as a child. My dude, we know where we know what happened to him. We've seen the first Friday the 13th. That's it. It doesn't need a TV series.
They're gonna do the thing that we were just talking about. They're gonna try to make you want to sympathize him and root for him and like him. That makes them more pathetic to me. They're less scary to me. Let villains be evil. Let them be scary. Let me not like them. Instead of being like, oh, look, him being bullied. Show him kill a cat. Like, you know what I mean? Like, set them up from the beginning of you don't like them.
Yes.
At this point, if a director did that and made you not sympathize with them, but just follow them and watch them devolve into how they get worse, then I think that would be 10 times more successful.
Yeah.
I don't want to see him be bullied. I want to see him be the bully.
No, you're right, 100%. It's the same gripe I have about Halloween Ends. They built Michael Myers back to being this ruthless, unhinged brute. And then in the last movie, they're like, hey, by the way, a gunshot kills him. And like, but Dr. Loomis shot that man 6 times. And I'm like, what are you trying? Are you pulling a Lord of the Rings on me? No man could kill me, but I'm not a man. What?
I'm not a man.
I'm not a man. Laurie Strode shoots him and he's dead. I'm like, bro.
That was actually a pretty good comparison. I'm not gonna lie. That was pretty good.
I'm like, come on. All right.
Oh my gosh. Well, we have no outro.
We have no outro.
The music.
Bump up the music. Pump it up. Pump it up. All right.
I guess you could just show the starting screen again.
Yeah. All right.
Well, all right. We'll see you next Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, which is...
2 p.m. Mountain or 1 p.m. Pacific.
Yes.
Down to the very brim, to the point so I could not scratch, and I still managed to rip flesh off of my side.
That is painful. I'm just hoping we can fix
painful
this.
As shit.
I want to fix this, Gobbo. I didn't get a chance to go inside the damn building.
And I can't do
Gumbo will tickle your thigh.
Please don't, Gobbo.
Okay, Gumbo will tickle your side.
Don't you dare
Rib
go!
tickler!
No!
Rib tickler!
Don't you dare!
Oh my god.
Oh, hold on. Ay. I'm being hosted. Gobbo.
Gobbo?
Welcome in. And hello, everyone.
Wait.
No. This is why I don't see it. There we go. That works. I can't.